G'day and welcome back everybody to another Upside Fantasy podcast. We are Supercoach, NRL and a bit of fantasy related here. Again, apologies for last week's episodes, both super short because there is nothing worse than finishing a day at work, spending an hour preparing and then an hour recording 2 episodes only to realize that the audio didn't come through. I got lucky so far with my tech in this sort of experimental phase, and then last week I copped it sweet. So pretty brutal pretty brutal night last week. So when I did do the re-record, I just focused on getting the product to you guys. It wasn't the same sort of blabbering on that may happen, which might suit some people, but there wasn't as much insight that I provided, I thought. So I think we're back to regular scheduling or regular programming tonight in terms of length and detail. So let's crack on, because the Blitz isn't that exciting. It's sort of just team lists with bits and pieces just to help people out, and the priority is to get it into your ears well before bedtime. So as usual, I'm going to start with a little highlight from last week. Guys, if you only watched this one and you haven't been here in the last couple of weeks to see me spruiking the matchup podcast, you'll see in this screenshot, it was the Storm v Raiders and Sean Blaw crossed for a try, and it was his first major attacking stat in many weeks, and he had the gun matchup. So a really sweet one for me to have seen in the data and then mentioned in the potty. I didn't start him given just my scenario, but I'm sure a lot of people had to rely on him, and hopefully some people made some sit starts based off this, because he crossed the line, which was sweet, and scored relatively well. Like, not as good as other sort of 2RFs would. Like, imagine if Kai Pearce-Paul scored a try in an 80-minute game, he'd go ballistic. He'd go 90 plus probably. So yeah, not too bad. And then the hooker Garlick filled in for Grant and had a good game himself with, I think, a try assist or even 2 possibly there. So yeah, really sweet to have that pop up here in the data, and they converted, and even Wishart wasn't too sloppy himself with a great matchup. So yeah, and then even I think, was Fa'alongo any good? I can't remember. I could be wrong there, but yeah, the Storm have another good matchup this weekend, guys, against, I think it's the Tigers off the top of my head. We'll find out in a wee second, but yeah, just a little preview. So if you don't subscribe, please sub, or if you got some benefit out of that one, chuck a like on this video and whatnot. That all means a lot as we start very small in this space. So yeah, we just grow steady. It's going to take time, and I do it more for my own, I guess, enjoyment in the community, in the Discord and stuff, than anything else. But yeah, but let's crack on to team lists. What the fuck? Yeah, so first game, Eels, Bunnies. I just wanted to call out, so yeah, Jake Tungo comes in. I'm going to call it Tungo. It could be Targo. Apologies. Not that he'd ever listen, but comes in for Sivo, who's out for 4 weeks, possibly more. So for all the people that jumped on Sivo, you can flick him. The Eels have a pretty tough finals run, and who knows how long that'll hang around. But we haven't seen Jake Tungo before, so he's just a monitor. Blaize Talagi is one I want to highlight. I've just said to you guys here, like, he's playing outside Moses, and we saw that. He had a try or even 2 denied or something last week, so he could have gone 90 plus. Talagi doesn't do much else, sadly, but man, he's just going to get a lot of quality ball out there, Blaize Talagi. So I hope you listened to me a few weeks ago in your deep leagues when I said hold him if you already had him, or grab him on freeze sort of thing. Yeah, and it's only 1 injury to Gutho, or they wrap the season up if Moses gets injured and Talagi could go back to fullback sort of thing. So yeah, he's definitely a guy. If I had, I'd be trying to keep my hands on him if I could. Clearly, Madison is one of the big waiver pickups. You would have seen it in the thumbnail, and I think, yeah, it's time in the season to give him a go. The offloads, hopefully the minutes are there. We saw the offloads last week. We know what he can do. It's time to chuck a waiver on him if you've been holding and you're needy in that department. In a really deep league, in Freezer next morning, Sean Lane at lock isn't the worst shout. This bench doesn't really lend itself to too many other people playing major minutes. And I'm not saying he'll be a massive hit. What I did see last week watching this game, Doueihi ran really hard when he subbed on for Lane. So it could be Lane 20 minutes, middle, Joe O comes in. I don't know why Lane would start. Actually, maybe they late swap. As I say this out loud, yeah, just maybe monitor. I did the highlights and stuff, then I ran off to the gym real quick, and now I'm looking back at it going, maybe we need to just watch this for a week. But in a deep league, it's a bit different. You need to jump on what you can jump on. Kolomatangi holding the lock spot is fascinating. I do another weird data set off in my own that I just experiment with some certain stuff I don't show everyone yet. Based actually, I'm not going to tell anyone because it could become really valuable, and then I've told everyone and someone could replicate it, and it isn't very cool, is it? Going forward, but yeah, I do something. And Keon Kolomatangi at lock is one of the best performers in this other index that I'm building, and it's really worth mentioning that if someone's asleep at the wheel in your league and you can trade like a big name for Keon because they just may not be paying attention and whatever else, it's worth a gamble. Like say you're a fringe team and you can throw a bit of caution to the wind. Like say you're like an Isaiah Yo owner, for example. Someone's going to fall for that name, and I think with like Keon playing 19, Yo playing Origin, limited minutes when he backs up, and Panthers, like what's his upside compared to someone like Keon who's going to play you the next few weeks potentially at lock? It's just something to think about. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying have a think about like who the Kolomatangi owner is, and maybe they haven't realised that he's playing at lock still with Murray back. And Murray will go off to next Origin, so you've got a few more weeks of it, and he's just a gun when he's there. So just thought I'd mention it. It's not make or break. Just it's an interesting thing to monitor. Next game, Sharks v Titans. Call out here is Atkinson's coming on the right wing. Super weird, but that's the case. And I honestly, that right age is so dominant. I think he's genuinely worth a mid to low waiver ticket, and definitely a free agency pickup, because the Sharks also play round 19. Like if someone in my league sleeps on this, I might jump on Atkinson. I'm not saying they're going to dominate the Titans this weekend, but they might, and he's on the dominant edge. I know that the left's way better when Trindle's there, but he's on the dominant edge and he's a bit of a trier. Like, I don't know. I think it's something to think about with Dan Atkinson. Talakai Wilton. Look, my assumption here is that Wilton, I shouldn't have worn this spray jacket in. It's probably rustling around. I try and stay still. Sorry, everyone, if you're hearing that in the mic. That's terrible form from myself. But anyway, the Talakai Wilton thing, I believe Wilton, like my guess is Wilton is still just recovering and monitoring his minutes after that AC joint. He came back earlier than what like was originally mentioned. Then he played like, I don't know, like was it 40 minutes last week, and he played pretty hard and got around the park. And my assumption is that, he's going to do similar this week. And then I would expect he goes back to left edge. And you might be wondering, why do you think that? And what I saw was when Nico went off to Origin, Teague Wilton got the captaincy armband. I just don't think you do that to a guy who's a bench rotation middle, who's not built for the middle really anyway. Like doesn't have crazy good footwork. What he does have is really strong decoy line running, pretty good skills, good try scoring line running, and he's a really solid defender. I think a lot of people showed their true colours last year when they all thought Teague Wilton was a bad defender. He wasn't. It was Moylan exposed him, and Teague Wilton was falling off stuff, reaching and working really hard to cover Moylan, and Talakai on his outside being a little bit slow-footed laterally. Like last year was funny listening to everyone run around and Potty talking about how bad Teague Wilton was at defense. It's like, man, he's actually really good back rower. But anyway, maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't think I am when it comes to that, because I watched him very closely as an owner for Teague 3 years in a row. I think he's one of the better value buys in draft, where people just don't really care for him because he doesn't do anything explicitly amazingly, but man, he'll get you when he's healthy, like 60 points a game with solid upside of 100 when he scores. Like that's exactly what you want for $1 in an auction draft. $2 in an auction draft, which is what I get him for. It's amazing. I think that's what's going on there. And hey, I could be wrong. Egg on my face, all that kind of shit. Talakai has been pretty mid, but he's still worth a start given the fact he plays 19-2, guys. So if you're looking ahead, but then again, the minutes, like he might not play 80 minutes. So yeah, actually ignore what I just said. I can't keep a track of my own bullshit at the moment. But yeah, that's annoying there. On the other side, Kinney holds a spot with Brimson back in. That is a massive boon for all Kinney holders. Absolute game changer. If you were, for example, a Tommy owner and you jumped on Kinney, now you've got Tommy. You can watch and monitor how he goes and rely on Kinney to sort of have some upside. Brimson owners, that's fine for now until the other dude is back, and then he probably goes to the centres. But that's all I've got for that one. This game, I didn't really make any comment except that looks like Schneider drops out for Luai, as we've sort of seen. So, Schneider can go if you were just plugging him in last week like I was. Sorensen and Martin are in there. We don't see Garner back yet, which is fine. So that does bode sort of well for Sorensen. We saw Liam Henry, I think, came on for Martin. So again, good for Sorensen owners, I think there. Nothing on the Broncos side really excites me or is worth mentioning. Connor Tracey's back, and I noticed he was under 50% owned. So guys, if Connor Tracey's around, he's worth a waiver if you want. And I don't think he's a gun or anything, but just any fullback in your CT dub that's above average or average, like Connor Tracey, is a great option coming to the back end of the season. Dogs play 19 from memory. Apologies if I'm wrong, but the other thing is they do have a good finals run, and they are one of the best Supercoach teams going around in terms of scoring and defending. And the thing that's really interesting is they're back to a bit of normality this weekend. You see Carraz is back on the wing. Wilson's back on the wing. I like Wilson in a deep league, again, as a CT plug against the Waz. And Tracey, I just think, you've probably, if you can get him and own him and it suits your needs, then I think he's one to go for. I'll be playing him this weekend, I suspect. I've mentioned Wilson. Nothing else really jumps out to me there. Chanel Harris-Tevita in a really scarce position does a job for you if you're needy there. Murata Niokore, does this bench, the reason I have him here, does this bench indicate he plays 80 and forward rotates through the middle? I don't know. The question is with you. We don't know, but I think it's interesting. But without Sean Johnson, how well does he, how much ball does he get close to the line? I don't know. It's just something to mention. It's not, don't do too much with that. Adam Doueihi I had as a waiver pickup last week, and he got sin-binned, which sucks, but he's just a stats accumulator. Adam Doueihi, he always has been. He just is a statistics accumulator. Like, the team can be getting shit on, and that bloke just breaks tackles, he offloads, he just does shit in and around the ball. So if you got him, good on ya. But I mean, the positionality is shit. I get that. I do think he misses out on center. So that's the reason why he wasn't like a, absolute sort of golden ticket. But he'll do a job in 5/8 or wherever he's listed. John Bateman's back on the edge, so he'll also do a job if people have slept on him. Don't expect the world. He just he just looks mediocre last year and this year. Like, has the game gotten ahead of him and he just doesn't have that natural talent and athleticism? I mean, he had talent once, but he just like the athleticism? He doesn't break as many tackles. Don't see the offload as much. And I don't think I can't remember when he scored a try last. I mean, maybe it was this year he scored one, but it sucks because I think a lot of people like me got him late in the draft last year and didn't get too much out of him other than just plodding along. And it was fine, 60, but it's even worse sort of this year. I don't know what's going on. Trent Loiero, the bench, I think suits him for pretty good minutes if you're needing that league. Howarth had a strain and he's named, so be wary with Jack Howarth. Grant Anderson, my little plug and play bloke, he's there again, and one to potentially plug in and do a job in this matchup, guys. Like these three I've highlighted, Warbrick, Anderson, and Howarth, if they're around and you needed some upside potentially as your fourth sort of CT double wherever you're playing them, that's interesting. Do not understand Kane Bradley in the 5. Don't understand that. But anyway, I'm not going to try and explain that. I don't know. And Bronson Garlick, I should mention, definitely a feasible definitely a feasible plug and play in any wherever he plays, just due to the fact that he's playing hooker. He'll get through those tackles, and he had pretty good vision and ball playing last week. Next game, Koula gets named at fullback for Manly. Really big one. He's a must-have. You just got to go for it because you just never know. Last year, he hit those heights. This year, we didn't see it when he was a fullback, but he didn't get long enough run because he got jammed and had that AC injury or whatever it was. We didn't see him play to his potential. And then it's so weird that Lehigh was the choice the whole time Koula was there, and now Tommy Turbo's in the centers, and now Koula's at fullback. Is it because the third drop center option wasn't good enough, so then you've got to have Koula in centers defensively and Lehigh? I guess, but I don't know, man. Wouldn't you just be playing your best fullback? If you're Seabold, if it's Koula. If Koula's your second best fullback after Tommy, wouldn't you play him to win games rather than hope that your center defense is marginally better with Koula there than whatever else is there? I don't know that answer that question. It's weird. And then to make matters worse for Hopewadi owners, especially in Classic and stuff, he's on the bench. So I think that's just coverage. If Tommy goes down, but don't play Tommy if he's not expected to play 80. I don't get it. Pretty weird, but things could change before kickoff. I doubt it though. That just looks like what it is. For the cows, there's nothing worth mentioning. I don't think for myself, I don't think anything stands out. Just double checking. Kyle Felt's been doing a job, so yeah, there's that. Teddy was sick again. I traded for Teddy this year. It's the second year in a row I haven't drafted him, but then traded for him because that's just what has happened. And yeah, I feel terrible about it. Like at the time, the trade, I felt like it was pretty fair, and now I feel pretty evil, and like it sucks because I like my trades to go 50-50 so I can trade with the guy again later when I need to, or next year, and now I feel like old mate's never going to trade with me ever again. Mind you, he had the stock, he had all these fullbacks at the time, and it made sense, and he needed what I had to sell, and what I had to sell was peaking, and that's just the game. But yeah, it is what it is, and he's rolling. Lomax is back. RFM's been doing a job, but I haven't been monitoring the minutes and stuff, and with Leilua there, I don't know if Leilua's been going to the edge, but yeah, it's still risky running RFM out just due to his injury history, but while those scores are rolling and while this team is sort of being pretty relevant, you can go for it, but in this matchup, I wouldn't. Terrell May's back to the bench, and I just don't know what the minutes will be. The Naf White experiment, as we know, has imploded. That's fine. You win some, you lose some. Is this last game of the week? Second last game of the week, maybe? KO Week stays at fullback, and as we discussed today in the Discord, it's because it's in preparation to keep him around for when Fogarty's back. But the big name, Kalen Ponga, is back with Fletcher Sharp on the interchange in 14. Super weird, super confusing. To make matters worse, Dylan Lucas is back with KPP starting and Frizell starting, so we get no consistency, no rhyme or reason, no pattern, no confidence in any of those three and what their minutes will be. But they're all relevant in Supercoach, which is just such an absolute nightmare. I say it again. Will Pryce was pretty good in his debut NRL game. I mentioned it. He was a really good potential punt if you had an appetite for that kind of risk and whatever. And if you felt like he would do a bit of service in the positions that he offered, fullback and centre wing. I mean, I think he had a try assist and a try and scored 60. So just, yeah, he didn't show me too much more, and I don't know what the quality there is. The ceiling could be pretty average, and the floor could be pretty brutal in a bad game. So with your Will Pryce, I wouldn't be sprinting back. It wasn't like when I saw KPP's first game and he only scored 40, but then I sprinted to get him because of what the flashes were. This is Pryce did pretty well, and the score wasn't that great. So it's oh well, good on you if you got him, and I wouldn't be breaking down the foundations of my team to sort of get Will Pryce or anything. Marju hit upside. I just think that finally happened. That's awesome for us owners and drafters. Best hit berserk upside. And I remember early days in the season, people were talking about what the hell's wrong with Best. Ponga was there and Best was doing poorly. Ponga loves either the short or the center cutty and hit the winger, but he also Ponga can play all levels of that sweep. So I'm still running Best out, if I've got him, and I'm happy to have him. I'm not selling the farm for him, but yeah, Best was always a hold because we'd already seen that he does have he reminds me of Isaac Tungo. He has the dips in seasons, but the peaks are really nice. He's a try scorer, Bradman Best too, which is important. That's that for that one. Fletcher Sharp owners, I don't know. I think you just punt him and you just hope you can get him back if Ponga goes down. If you're a Ponga owner, and you've got Sharp, that's different. I think you luxury stash Sharp until you've got to make a different play. Oh, that's it. Well, we got through that. Some of the names I'm going to run through, I always forget to do them, but I'll do them this time. But some of the names, I'll just check something else too. Let's just have a look. I wrote something really quickly to see about what I recommended and how they went. Yeah, so I recommended Doueihi last week, and I said, he got Simbin, did all right. Recommended Cardi pretty loudly. He did really well, the Cardi party, which is sick. And Will Pryce, Will Pryce, who did fine. And I think if you got him, you're happy. And like I said, if you don't have him, you're probably fine to not have him. Let me get back to the questions. We've got a couple, which I appreciate. Fellas, thanks for getting those in if you did. Love the questions because they sync up with the... Oh, actually, before I do questions, I'm going to do the list because you'll see my list syncs up with the questions. So I think Tolotau Koula is number one this weekend. In my opinion, I think Kini, if he's not owned, is probably even more of a preference than Koula, but he'll be owned by now. Doueihi, if that floats your boat, that positional, that 5'8", I think you can go for him. Tracey, as I said, is under 50% owned, which just isn't good enough given what he could potentially do. And by do, I mean give you 60 plus, give you a 40 floor, probably with his work rate, and then has like nice fullback sort of upside for a try assist or try as a CT dub with good yardage for base. So I think he should be owned. Chanel Harris-Tevita, in that dire halfback position. Will Pryce, as I mentioned, it's fine. Bryce Cartwright has to be owned now. Like I already said it, and he probably is, but he just has to be. It was awesome. His just his Supercoach accumulation is just sick with Moses there, and he's healthy, and that's the main thing I think with Bryce Cartwright, and he's obviously proven he can do the job, and Trent's happy, so that's what matters. Frizell, if he's around, yep, but risky. Talangi, as I said. Chanel, I've already said that. Jack Howarth, yeah, keep an eye on it. Plugins, Bronson Garlick, Loiero, Anderson, Blake Wilson, and Trai Fuller. Not this weekend, but you can get ahead of Trai Fuller to play you the bye, I think it's next weekend. So, for example, if you're in like a competitive league and you need to think ahead, I think Trai Fuller is a good get to play potentially 2 weeks in a row in fullback and hopefully do okay for you. Like not amazing, but I'm just shouting it out. This could help someone. I don't know. That's sort of my list. There's just not the best, not the tastiest week for waivers and frees and whatnot. But questions. What do we think of Matto as a pickup now that Hopgood is out? Yeah, 56 in 47 minutes. Yeah, sick without an attacking stat, and he had the offload out. Hate the power rotation. Yeah, and he came off the bench. Yeah, and I think he's going to get more than 56 or 55. I think you can go for him. I wouldn't, it's not like a number one waiver thing, but I think, get him in your roster if you can. And if you've like, say you're dealing with KPP or something. God, I'm the biggest KPP fan, so I can't even say it, but I don't know, like, yeah, that might be a bit rich. I would probably let Matto go to the keeper and keep KPP. I know it sounds so stupid, but he's so alluring, man. KPP, the base is sick. The upside is so tantalizing. So I just need to see what that rotation is for at least 2 or 3 weeks. And then once it's embedded, I'm cool to rock with him. But yeah, I think, Matto's fine. I've recommended him here. I think you go get him. Need to drop 2 to field a team this week. You got Finu, Loiero, Preston, KPP, Fa'alongo. Fa'alongo seems obvious, but if Pappy goes out, he's a banger v Tigers. Yeah, he is. I'd be dropping... I can't drop Finu because even though like this matchup sucks, we've seen what he can do at front row. And it's just sick to have a thing. I think you can drop Preston and Loiero there. I'd play KPP because truthfully, before KPP's injury, it was Lucas coming on for Frizell playing through the middle. And you just have to assume that happens again. So I'd drop Loiero and Preston. Not because Loiero's security is really good and he's got a matchup, blah, blah, but he doesn't do much. And he can play 70 and score 50. And then Fa'alongo, you can wait till the final hour and drop him if you want. But yeah, I think Preston you can drop because he's not named. You can't do anything. If your comp picks him up and he comes back, who knows if he comes back and plays 80 or is healthy rest of season. I don't know. I think you can drop him. I don't like dropping Finu out of that bunch. I personally can't drop KPP. I've been holding him all year. That's just my problem. But someone wiser than me might say, yeah, flick Preston and KPP and rock and roll. Just play Loiero because he's going to play. Like that's the other part of it. Depends on how your team's built. Like say you don't need much upside and a reliable 50 is more important than anything else for you, then you drop KPP and Preston because Loiero's reliable 50. Whereas like my team, I'm going to have weekends where 50 from my 2 RFs, it's not good enough just due to the fact that I've got a few Rocks and Diamonds players. So I need upside sort of everywhere to play like that gamble. In my opinion, that's how I structure my team and how I think about it. So yeah, hopefully that helps you. Thanks for the questions, guys. I think that is going to do it. Let me get to this screen. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with the matchup potty. Super keen to record that and distribute that one. This one was a little bit longer, but it makes up for last week. So I'll get this one out to you guys. Thanks again for all the support. Please chuck this a like and subscribe if you're here, and don't subscribe because I've got less than 70 subscribers, but I get over 70 views often. So I'd love you guys to convert those subs to those viewers that aren't sub to subs. It'd be really appreciated. You don't have to hit the bell or anything, get notifications, but subbing just helps validate me in the algorithm, I guess. And I'm just trying to get to 100 subs in year 1 because I only know that the product will get better next year as I do all my preseason work, which is the most fun stuff. Teaching and sharing with people how to set up an auction draft for their league so they can really elevate the fairness and the parity and the challenge and the the quality of their draft league so that it becomes like a really competitive, fun environment to compete in rather than being like an afterthought where people drop off after 5 weeks. So anyway, I'm rambling now. Gonna let you guys go. Hope this helps. Hope you get your waiver tickets in, and hope you get the guys you're after. We will chat soon. See ya.